Hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 38 of the Simply Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Colin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we have got the show for you.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Please settle down. It's enough.
Yeah, cut it out. Shut it down right now. The crowd is just in fear.
Just
there's armed guards.
slack-jawed.
You know, there's like the flashing applause thing. And then when it just says stop, the guards point the guns at the crowd, Bated breath. Oh,
No, we don't do that.
no. The
Anyways.
furnace kicking on. It just sounds like it sounds like when you enter the house in Phasmophobia. Doesn't it?
Hey, quit playing like that, man. We're sitting in a dark room.
Straight up right now. Candlelight. Yeah. All right. This week we're going to be talking about, we're going to do our best to talk about God of War Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. I've completed the game, and I'm actually working on 100%ing it. That's kind of my personal goal. It's over 50 hours long, and I am at hour 45. Now, to be fair, I've been struggling with some of the side bosses and stuff, where I'm like, that 50-hour goal is for somebody that's better than me, you know what I mean? I'm going to be at 80 hours before I actually beat this game. But Chris, on the other hand, is only about 10 to 12 hours into the game, you'd say?
Give or take. Give or take.
I do think it'll kind of be interesting to have two very different points of reference, I guess.
Sure.
Where I know, when you're I wonder where, and I can be he's so off, you know what I mean? He's so off base or whatever it might be, right? But I will have to be cautious to not spoil anything for you.
Yeah, if you do, I'd be mad because nothing's been spoiled, thankfully.
Whoa.
That sounded like from Stardew Valley. And you're walking on
the bullfrogs in the rain. That's what it was.
Dude, we've been sleeping on that game for a minute. We got
that.
Dude,
Project Zomboid.
Dude, let's quit our day jobs.
Yeah,
dude. We need to quit our day jobs and start streaming and then continue the podcast.
Yeah.
Like that. Dude, if we got paid to play video games all day,
I'd cry.
Dude,
I'd cry and I'd die of a heart attack at 50.
Yeah, I don't think I know what
at fucking 42.
Why?
Why what?
Why would you have a heart attack?
I'd just be as big as a house. I'd be what's his name? Nikocado Avocado, just gorging myself. That's the content I make, is just, can I eat?
Mukbang.
Can I eat the entire McDonald's menu in 30 minutes in one sitting?
150 McRibs down in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Fat guy eats 1 million calories in one sitting, and I'm just, boy. I've got the fucking, the oxygen in my nose, because I'm just so big I can't breathe. But by God, I've got money. And not enough to be in a big house, but just I don't have to have a day job.
Yeah. Hey man, that's making it, in my opinion.
$40,000 a year. But I'm not long for the world. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
I'm not long for the world.
Oh man. What is happening?
Oh no.
It is very late. It's 10 o'clock. We never start recording this late.
No, I wanted to cram in as much God of War as I could.
Yeah. So it's 10 o'clock. And we're both grown adult men who, this is our bedtime. You know what I mean? We've got a staunch, 11 o'clock is
I'm out.
We're being bad boys.
Yeah,
you know?
Not me. I'm in bed.
But, no. So, yeah, I'm not going to try and spoil anything for you.
That's right.
Before we get into God of War, we have to talk about A Quiet Place Day 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. Dead Island 2 getting delayed.
What?
Yeah. Blade found its new director, and there's been a high-level shakeup at Disney.
Ooh.
So, got some news there. Before we get into all the main news, we do have to talk about, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but the sudden passing of Jason David Frank.
I did.
Yeah. Obviously, Jason, he was most famous for portraying Tommy Oliver, who was the original Green Ranger in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in 93.
Yeah.
So, going on 30 years of being that Ranger. And he was in, something, I think, they said 20 different, variations of the Power Rangers.
Oh, wow.
Where he'd come back as a 45-year-old man and be Tommy still, you know. So he was 49 when he passed. He actually passed away yesterday, the 20th. Justine Hunt, who is a representative for him, confirmed his death with the Hollywood Foreign Press. And there hasn't been a cause of death officially released, but in her statement, Justine Hunt did ask that the privacy of his friends and family be honored during, as she put it, during this horrible time as we come into terms with the loss of such a wonderful human being. Because there's been some like TMZ speculation of the cause of death and things like that. And so it's just kind of, it's distasteful, you know, especially because it sounds like it might have been self-inflicted, basically. And so, yeah, it's like, that's not something that you want everybody speculating about on social media and things like that. So
that's a very sensitive subject.
Yeah, especially for the people around him.
Oh, absolutely.
But so, I mean, like I saw somebody else point out, you know, what a terrible week for like 90s kids, basically. Yeah. Where you're like, you know, you're losing a Power Ranger and Batman, you know, and within like 2 weeks of each other, and both suddenly, you know what I mean? You know, so it is really, really unfortunate when anybody passes away, but especially somebody who's like, you know, like somebody like him, he's always been in like kids stuff, you know what I mean? Right. It takes a certain type of person to be just a star to kids, you know what I mean? Yeah. Think of like a Fred Rogers, and you know, where it's like, you know, I'm going to build a career on being a kid's, you know, hero or whatever, right? So it's really awful, and again, there's just no way to transition out of the like celebrity death. So Stranger Things season 4 star Joseph Quinn.
What?
Do you know who he is?
No.
By name? Have you heard people on like TikTok and all that talking about like Eddie Munson? The rocker with the big hair, and he plays the guitar and all that. He is in talks to star alongside Lupita Nyong'o in A Quiet Place Day 1. So, as the title suggests, it's a spin-off of A Quiet Place from 2018, and the story is actually being kept like really tightly under wraps. So, don't really know who they are, what they're motivating, you know, anything about them. Other than that, the name obviously suggests that it's going to be like the beginning of the alien invasion that we saw in like part 2. And so it's going to follow probably these two in the early days of all that going on. And I do think that'll be kind of cool to see like
more
the chaos
action.
And you could probably lean more into like aggressive horror, I guess, of like when there's more people making more noise,
they're going to be more active.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh wow, man, you know, because I mean that beginning scene from Quiet Place Part 2 is pretty intense. Yeah. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I want to see him do, like, rated R. You know what I mean? Let it be violent.
That'd be fucking cool.
But in addition to the spinoff, this isn't really part of this news story, but I saw it in the article that I got this from and was like, what? There is a third A Quiet Place movie, actually, in development for 2025. So that was pretty dope, too. It's a shame that John Krasinski, his character, died in the first one.
Yeah, because I want to see more of him.
Yeah, but so you know, maybe get some more flashback from him.
Could be. He's a good director though. Like you know,
and writer.
And writing on it. Does he produce it as well?
Yes. Yeah. I forgot to write down what his production company is, but yeah, he produced them, directed them, and wrote them in like a handshake kind of deal with Michael Bay's production company as well. So. Let's see here. Deep Silver and Dam Buster Studios.
What'd you call me?
Deep Silver and Dam Buster Studios. That's our jazz band name. I'm Deep Silver and you're Dam Buster.
Buster, I've been.
Deep Silver and Dam Buster Studios released a joint statement announcing the delay of Dead Island 2 from February 3rd to April 28th of 2023. What? So it's only a 12-week. It's a 12-week delay, 3 months. The statement says, honestly here, the statement says, the irony of delaying Dead Island 2 is not lost on us, and we are as disappointed as you undoubtedly are. The delay is just 12 short weeks, and development is on the final straight now. We're going to take the time we need to make sure we can launch a game we're proud to launch. For those of you who've been waiting for years, thank you for hanging in there with us. We're set to get a new trailer and gameplay footage on December 6th at like a Dead Island 2 showcase.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I like that they straight up are like, yeah, no, we know, because like Dead Island 2's been in some stage of production and then like shelved and then brought back out. It first was released or announced in 2020 or 2014 at E3 and was supposed to release in 2015. Didn't ever get an official delay. It just kind of was like they never mentioned it, and then just it went away. And then like 2019, it was like, I think they might be working on it again. And then I was like, no, psych, never mind. And then now they're like, no, it's actually happening. Like, we're going to make it. We just got to delay it again. And everybody's like, no, please. We're so close.
Don't do this.
Yeah, and that's why they're like, no, we know, but we are legitimately working on it. And it does. I mean, they didn't cite like a specific reason for the delay. So I do think it's just, we need a little bit more time.
Yeah.
You know, which I mean, we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times on here.
We'll wait.
Take
if
the
it,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. If it improves the product, I'll
Fine.
wait. Oh, dude, you're not far away, or we're not far away from
Day before.
Sons of the Forest.
Oh.
No, we're still kind of far away from the day before.
March.
Is it March?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it got pushed to like April or May.
It was in February, and then it got pushed to March.
I thought it was more than a month because they were doing a complete new engine.
No, Unreal. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because they're porting everything over to Unreal Engine 5.
March 1st, 2023.
What was it? Oh, it was like April or May of this year, wasn't it? Or like July.
Could have been.
And then it got pushed all the way a whole year almost.
Yeah. No, March 1st, I will be taking vacation.
And Sons of the Forest is in February.
Fuck. Well, no, yeah, I'll play it in February, right? And we'll grind that out throughout the whole month. Mm-hmm. March, I'll take a vacation.
Let me pull that up. What day is Sons of the Forest? I feel like for some reason February 23rd jumps out at me, but I bet I'm wrong. Just be February 23rd.
February 23rd, 2023.
Is it?
Yeah.
Holy fuck! You're joking.
Nah, swear to God.
That's I'm quitting my day job. I don't have a marketable skill. It's just I can remember some dates for some reason.
So, well, I'll take a vacation.
Take 2 weeks vacation just to play that, and then
I don't know why you're laughing.
I didn't tell a joke. You know what I mean? But no, so I want to play Dead Island 2. It looks good. Did you ever play the first one?
I did.
I'm sure I know that we talked about it on the podcast when we talked about Dead Island 2. But
did I tell you the first time I played Dead Island? I think I told the story.
Yes, you did. Okay. When you shit your pants. Yes. Yeah, in fact, I remember distinctly thinking more of that segment was devoted to the story of you shitting your pants than to me, than to us talking about Dead Island. You're like, you know what I remember most about Dead Island? This one time I pooped my pants. I'm like, Jesus. So,
pretty good game.
Yeah, fun. A lot of memories. Blade is back up and running after a whole new creative team has been assembled for the project.
Yikes.
So, I'm going to butcher this name. Yang Demange, who directed the pilot episode of HBO's horror series Lovecraft Country, is on board to helm the film. Okay. And Michael Starbury, who holds an Emmy nom for his writing on an episode of a show that I've never heard of called When They See Us, is on board to pen an entirely new script for the feature film. So they're basically just like starting over.
Yeah.
Except they've got their cast already, hopefully.
Woof.
That's the other thing about something like this is, what if you have to reschedule people and some people can't make the schedule?
Woof.
Like
they're flopping hard.
It makes me think of Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, when they just had to reshoot the whole thing.
They completely remade the movie, basically. And Paul Bettany's character was originally played by, lost the actor's name, but he was from The Wire. Mm-hmm. And so, like, he couldn't make his schedule work with the new, and so they just had to recast him.
Damn.
And I'm like, I wonder how that works contractually. Like, do they still have to pay him? I would think, because he did all the work.
That
you know
makes
what I mean?
sense to me.
Almost filmed the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then when they went, yeah, we're going to do the whole thing again, he was like, I can't.
Yeah,
I've got other shit to do.
Yeah, I was contract for this time.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, but so I hope something like that doesn't happen on this one. But because I remember that when we talked about them losing their director, Mahershala Ali was already kind of fed up with the process.
Yeah.
And it's like, guy, we haven't even started yet, which I think is part of what's frustrating him.
Yeah, it's like
Maybe
it's
it's
just
like, what the fuck's going on
a
here, guys?
standstill, and then everything else has to wait. So
Yeah.
and it's already getting a bad rap.
Yeah. Yeah, bad press isn't... I mean, it's still press, but, they're talking about it.
Not in a good way.
But no, the new team putting everything together does actually put it back on track, not to make its original release date, but the new release date that they'd set, it looks like they're going to make that. Mm-hmm. But I do worry about that cram, where like they already had a script and they're supposed to start in November filming. That's not happening now. They're rewriting it in November.
Oof. What are you gonna do?
I guess rewrite a movie. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that pressure.
Put us in there.
Yeah,
we'll get a good movie.
What was the? I forget what it stood for. Kevin from She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Just why doesn't he just whip something up? You know what I mean?
Put you and me in there. We'll make a masterpiece.
Did I mention it on the podcast that apparently Kevin Feige and the writer of She-Hulk were like, both willing to just walk away.
Yeah.
Kevin wasn't. He was willing to fire her.
Yeah.
And she was willing to quit over putting a hat on the robot. Mm-hmm. Where he's like, no, that's stupid. It's like, it's already a robot. Yeah. Like, what do you mean, guy? And that was kind of her thought. And finally somebody was like, what if we just make it look like it's got a hat? And they're like, that might work. And then they're like, all right, fine. Let's see here. Now we're getting into the more meat of the potato here. This is the one that I wrote the most about. Okay, so
give me that meat.
The changing of the bobs has taken place. All right, the changing of the bobs. That train is really just choo-chooing, you know what I mean?
Really harsh in the mellow.
Yeah, really harsh in my mellow, man. No, there has been a changing of the bobs. Instead of the dogs, of the bobs at Disney, as Bob Iger replaces Bob Chapek as CEO. So, for those that don't know, Bob Iger was the CEO until 2020, when Bob Chapek took over. Bob Chapek has apparently shit the bed bad enough that Bob Iger had to come back out of retirement.
I just imagine him sitting at the top of a little castle, sitting in that room with that gorgeous view and just shit in the bed.
What's this? Yeah. It's Dusty Rhodes with a steel chair, comes running down the ramp, He's coming back. But no, the confirmation came late on Sunday the 20th. After rumblings had kind of been heard about this, but just kind of deemed like unrealistic. Like, that's not happening. Why would Bob Iger come back? Well, and a lot of people are actually comparing the return of Iger to the return of Steve Jobs as CEO of Apple in 1997, where he got voted off the board in like 92, I think. Then he went off and he made Pixar and made Toy Story, and then went back to... Actually, I don't think he had to make any movie. He made Pixar, then went back to being at Apple. And after he went to Apple, they made Toy Story. But, so hopefully we get some, like, here in a few years, we get the iPhone, you know what I mean? Like, 2001, he made the iPod Touch, or the iPod. What's 4 years from the road here on Bob Iger returning, right?
What do you think he's going to buy next?
Right, yeah. What's his next acquisition?
Monopoly.
He was assembling his Infinity Gauntlet of just IPs,
Yeah.
He got Fox, he got fucking Marvel, he got Disney.
And Star Wars.
Yeah, or Disney, yeah. He got Lucasfilms, Because that's the other thing. He didn't get Star Wars. He got Lucasfilms.
Got the whole damn franchise.
The whole thing. He's got Indiana Jones under his belt.
He got that thing on him.
Got that thing on him. Who knew he had that dog?
He had that dog in him.
No, so Iger was only out of CEO position for just under 3 years. The announcement Sunday evening caused Disney stock to jump early Monday morning by 8% up to back up to like $91 when it was taking a pretty sharp dive into like the high 80s and seemed to be going down further, which is probably part of what's where they're like, yeah, we got to get this guy out of here.
We should have bought a shit ton of Disney stock.
Right, just buy it up, and Bob Iger comes back like the Messiah, and they're like, oh, thank God, and the stock's going to be at a fucking $1.10 here next week, I lost my spot, I apologize. No, so the move comes nearly 2 weeks after Disney reported its lowest closing price on shares in over 2 years. So you're looking at the lowest prices since the start of the pandemic, basically.
Oof.
Or like, middle of the pandemic. And it's like, oh man, that's not good. When they're like, yeah, we don't know when we're going to put out movies again. And then this is the lowest it's been since that, basically. So that's not good. The board of directors released a statement that reads, "We thank Bob Chapek for his," I might be mispronouncing his name, but who cares?
He's old news anyways.
Bob too. We thank Bob Chapek for his service to Disney over his long career, including navigating the company through the unprecedented challenges of this pandemic. The board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period. Iger's internal memo to all the associates said, "Dear fellow employees and cast members, it is with an incredible sense of gratitude and humility, and I must admit a bit of amazement, that I write to you this evening with the news that I am returning to the Walt Disney Company as Chief Executive Officer. When I look at the creative success of our teams across our studios, Disney General Entertainment, ESPN, and International, the rapid growth of our streaming services, the phenomenal reimagining and rebound of our parks, the continued great work of ABC News, and so many other achievements across our businesses, I am in awe of your accomplishments, and I am excited to embark with you on many new endeavors." So, I mean, it's a hurrah, right? Yeah, I mean, it's nothing, doesn't really tell you anything.
It's just an email that says, "Don't call to come back."
Don't call to come back. But it's a link to the Spotify. It's not even anything. It's not even a full message. It's just
the song.
Hey, listen to the song. Don't call it a comeback. And they're like, he's not gloating or nothing, Bob Chapek's wiping his eyes with because apparently that's the other thing. He's wiping his eyes with dollar bills. They had just renewed his contract essentially as CEO, so he's getting a fat severance.
Yeah.
Like Bob Chapek basically gets the next 2 years off. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, "All right, Bobby, you're out. Bobby's back."
Yeah.
Bob C is out. Bob I is in.
I mean, and you gotta think about how much. He'll never have to work again.
Well, and how much did they have to pay Bob Iger? That's what I want to know to get him to come back. You know what I mean? Where they're like, "Hey, Bob, remember that job you wanted to retire from? How much we got to pay back? Give us a number. We're gonna hand you this blank check,
and you let us know."
Or I don't remember what movie it's from, but I'm gonna write 20, or no, I'm gonna write a 2, and then I'm gonna keep writing zeros behind it. Stop us when you're in. I was like, whoa. They just stop at $2 billion. They got it.
They've got it. Dude, $2 billion.
Yeah, I don't think they're throwing $2 billion at him though. No, he's not that.
Just imagine though.
Yeah. Fuck. Let me. What was I getting ready to look up?
I don't know.
Maybe Bob Iger's salary. Bob Iger.
Severance? No.
No, that's Bob Chapek's. Man, let's see if he got a severance. Bob Chapek severance. It's almost like I should have done research. Bob Iger in line for a $27 million payday as CEO under new Disney contract. Bob Chapek, meanwhile, is likely to receive a severance package worth at least $20 million. Here's $20 million. Take a week off.
Fuck.
You know what I mean?
Fuck you.
Hey, you're fired. Here's $20 million.
Fuck you, dude. $20 million,
I'd kill a man for $20 million.
A family man. Someone who spends time with his, time with his kids.
You don't have to do anything wrong,
Mm-mm. Sorry, it's called being hungry nowadays.
Sorry about it, yeah. I got that drive,
Yeah. It's about drive. It's about power.
Rock! Yeah. Now, what's my fucking name?
All right, where were we?
Talking about Bob Iger being the new big dog.
Yeah.
He fired somebody, I'm pretty sure, already. Damn.
He came back and was like, all right, you're out.
Yeah, hey, guy, get the fuck out of here.
What's your name? Thomas? Thomas, get the fuck out. Scoot.
Thomas, get your shit and leave. What? You heard what I said. When I come back around the corner here, you're gone. I'm going to go in my office, read some emails. I'm going to come back out. This just better be spotless.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I want to just see if I can find who he fired. Because, I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about, firing. But now that I think about it, yeah, I do.
Talk about it. Do it.
Do it. Just Google who did Bob Iger fire. It was on the Hollywood Reporter, I believe. Let me just pull that up here. Jamie, pull it up. What was that? I'm scared. Kareem Daniel to exit Disney as Bob Iger unwinds Chapek era structure. What?
What was that? I'm scared.
Did you guys hear that? And she just fucking turns the camera off. She's like, "Ooh, do you think they bought it?" You know? She just farts. She looks like she's maybe 10.
I mean, yeah.
She's just rolling around on the floor, joking and laughing. And
Do you
just
hear
play
that?
off like there's a ghost in her room. So, Iger said he would be implementing organizational and operating changes within the company over the next few weeks. And Kareem Daniel, who is a top lieutenant for Bob Chapek, is leaving Disney amid the executive shakeup. So they don't basically come out and say that he was fired, but
He was fired.
yeah, basically Bob Iger stepped in and was like, "Yeah, sorry, you ain't part of the team, chief. Like, you're the old Bob's guy, not this Bob. This is a new Bob, you know? Bob's your uncle, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't my own.
You ain't right." So, yeah, a lot of shake up there. Shaking and moving. So,
Right now's the time where we need to start a revolution. They're vulnerable. Start picking them off.
topple. I bet that's what the others. He's got to come in and look strong. You know, the other companies are going to be licking their chops. All two of them. You know, little pig.
Let me.
We're so out of touch with the series that I didn't put it in the news, but I think it's noteworthy that The Walking Dead had its series finale on Sunday.
How'd it end?
I don't know, but apparently it ended somewhat setting up the spin-off series that they're making. So.
So it's not really over.
Yeah. I mean, the main series is over, and then it's like, here's Daryl in France, and here's... Literally, that's one of the series that's going to be Daryl in France.
Daryl in France?
Correct.
Like the country?
The country of France, yeah. Yeah. Apparently there's been, variant walkers where, they're starting to get, runners who are kind of smart.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of... And apparently they were,
Some
in
of them
Europe.
are going to have baguettes.
Yeah, right? Beating them with fucking crusty bread.
Instead of, growling there.
Instead of a bruh, it's just but yeah. And then there's it's called Dead City is another one of them, and it's Maggie and Negan in New York City. And so that's kind of an interesting team up, but I don't know. It's one of those where now that it's all done, I'm like, I might as well binge it and finish it. You know what I mean? So
Maybe I will. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I might hop on
add
that
that to our
train.
list of shit that we'll never watch.
Yep.
I mean, we've just got an infinite
Again, that's where
pile
we just need to quit our day jobs
and just binge watch shit for a paycheck.
dude, that would be.
Yeah, but it's fun to talk about and dream about. But there's a lot between you and me and that being a reality.
Yeah.
But it's fun to think about.
It is. It's fun to
So-
daydream.
Now we're going to talk about now we're going to talking about God of War.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what the people want.
That's what.
I shouldn't have discovered how these work.
Yeah.
I played with it once and it was loud and abrupt in the middle of the first episode that we did live like this, and I was like, I'm never using those again. And then I just on a whim went, and we were like, oh my god. So I'm gonna I'll start with my notes, but then I'm really gonna let you kind of lead us a little bit, only because you're early enough in the game that I'm gonna go, has that happened yet or not? And then you'll be like, no. You know what I mean? We're like, I'm going to throw out a fake spoiler. Has Zeus shown back up yet? And you'll be like, what?
What?
I'm like, oh, sorry, my bad. Oops. Butterfingers over here. You know? So I figured we'd kind of talk about gameplay, story, and then I just put cool parts, where I'm like, I don't know, just that part win, So, because we've never really talked about a video game as our main topic. We've talked about video games, you know what I mean?
But
part
not
of the
a
list,
single
but not
one.
We're going to talk about God of War, like we talk about Black Panther or
Moon Knight.
that Moon Knight comic, you know? So it'll be kind of different for us.
Yeah.
Especially because also we haven't finished the game as a
As a duo.
unit. Yeah.
Man, you can suck my unit.
You can suck my unit. It's supposed to be a unit, man. Suck my unit. That's a good movie.
I'm a dude disguised as a dude dressed as another dude.
I know what dude he is. Plays so gameplay wise, I think it plays very similar to 2018 in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
The combat feels really good. It's challenging enough that like the smaller encounters do feel rewarding when you defeat them.
Yeah.
And like later on, I'll tell you, there was a part towards the end game, and it was just fighting like quote unquote grunts.
Sure.
But you're far enough into the game that like some of the grunts are enemies out at the beginning of the game where like, oh, okay, that's one of those guys, and you gotta like, oh, fuck, you gotta focus up, and then by the end you're fighting him as just part of the horde. Jeez. But you've gotten enough skills, and whether that be skills that you've unlocked or just personal skill, of like I'm better at the game as I've learned. So there was a part where Morgan was on the couch watching me. She actually was a trooper. She basically sat and watched me play it. Passively. I mean, she was on her phone or reading her books and stuff, and then she'd be like, "Oh, come on, baby, you got this," And I rolled through a fight with some decent enemy types and didn't take a bit of damage, and was like, "I'm a fucking god," And I'm like, "I am the god of war," I was like, dude, that felt good. It felt right. Because like the parry mechanics and things like that, I know that you really struggle with the timing on the parries.
I suck at parries.
But when you I was telling you about it. One of the abilities that I have was a shield that when I get a perfect parry and then shield bash somebody, I get a burst of health.
I might have to try. Like
because like we'll get into that. Actually, it's my next point here is that I really like because I'm trying to talk about one of the only changes in the systems that I can talk about with you
as of right now. Yeah, is
the change in the shield system. Where very early on you fight Thor.
Yes. And
he damages your Guardian shield, which is the round one that Faye gave you. And so it's kind of like, oh, what a fuck, And Brock is like, well, while I work on that, you can have one of these shields, And it's the
Stonewall.
The Stonewall shield, and then I just completely lost it, but the
parry.
Dauntless shield.
Yeah.
In the Dauntless shield is one that I actually ran with the whole time. I never experimented. And I kind of told you do unlock other shield types that you can craft. Like I remember one of them was called...
One of them starts with a V. It's like Voitant something. It's just a round shield.
Oh, that's just that's the regular run-of-the-mill shield.
Yeah, I don't use it.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's just the normal that after Brock fixes it. But then there's one called like the Star something shield, and I think what it does is like as you take damage on the shield, you can like do a burst of light that like stuns everybody. And I was like, that's kind of neat. And then there was another one that was called like Onslaught Shield that lets you charge at the enemy with the shield up.
Ooh.
And I was like, I almost got that one, but I just had a good flow down with the parry system. And I was like, I'm just sticking with the Dauntless Shield. But I do like that depending on the shield you take, that would completely change your combat style.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I might. Now like I'm in the...
I really don't use my shield. I'm trying to get good at like dodging or like running away.
Like that. You've got basically a useless arm. Because you're like, because I'm assuming you use mostly the axe.
Yeah.
And you've got the chains of chaos.
I'm better with the Leviathan.
You've got the Blades of Chaos. But yeah, so you've got your axe in one arm, and then just a shield that you're not using on this arm.
It's I have the Stonewall, which is just this big brute shield, but it's so slow and like I can't block in time or anything, and so I've gotten good at dodging to the side and then like running up behind them while they're still mid attack and then just start beating the fuck out of them and then scurry away.
Well, if that's the way you're gonna go, I'll kind of give you some tips without getting. So there's some mechanics that aren't spoilery because they're not like, it's not like
it doesn't really imply
it's not
the
a
story
weapon or anything like that, or it's not like and then you get Thor's hammer, and you're like, what? So you get I forget what they call it, like an amulet, I think, and you can put like basically stones in it, and the stones give you different like perks basically or bonuses, and some of them are like there was one that I ended up using a lot. That was, I forget what it was called, but basically, I think it was maybe called like Ares Strike or something like that. But if you get a perfect dodge, where like you dodge at the very last second, you get a bonus to your next hit as far as damage goes. So that might be something that you look at trying to get to, is where like if I move at the very last second, you know, and then hit him with a strike, that strike does bonus damage.
I'm doing that, and I'm also getting really good at like evading backwards, and then
doing
and throwing my Leviathan at them, and it'll come right back.
Yeah,
that's come in clutch and saved me a whole lot.
Yeah, and then I can't speak too much about some of the changes they made to the skill systems or combat, but one of the systems that you've already experienced is basically being able to, like, what do they call it? Modify your skills.
Yes,
where like, okay, here's this skill that I use. Like you were doing the ice rake, which is where you just stab the axe head into the ground and
then just shred
and you shred forward towards the enemies, and it just creates like ice spikes that move towards them. Well, if you use a skill like that X number of times, you then get to modify it. And so it lets you choose between what, like your elemental damage, your protection, and then your stun, I think.
Yeah.
So
I ended up going with
the protection.
Yeah.
Where when you're using it, you're less likely to get stunned or take damage
interrupted.
In general. Yeah, so you're less likely to take damage, and you're less likely to get stumbled by an enemy. So that's kind of nice. And each skill kind of varies, where like some of them might actually just let you slightly increase the damage of an attack.
Sure.
Or it's just generic. Yeah, this just does more damage. Yeah. But it does say on it like a minor increase to damage. And then some of the others will be like greatly increases your elemental damage or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I will tell you, like, definitely look at your stats on stuff and be like, oh, I do use that quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, and do that. Because there was some where I was just like, I don't know. There's a time where it does feel overwhelming because you've got like Atreus abilities and my abilities, and then this amulet that can have like 9 stones in it by the end of the game.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I've got what kind of character am I trying to build here, you know? And like so many different types of armor, you know? And I went with just a suit of armor where it was all the same armor type. But I mean, you can mix and match. So I mean, you do have to kind of look at your the stats of items and decide which one to use. That's where it gets really heavy into the RPG elements. It's like, okay, this one has better block, but it also does runic. This affects my cooldown and my luck, you know?
Right.
And you're like, oh, fuck, God.
That's just a lot.
Yeah. One thing, I don't know if you're up against it yet. The puzzles kind of annoy me in this game.
There's a couple puzzles that, like, I feel are just kind of unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
They threw a lot in there, I feel. Which is fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
From what I've played, but
kind of breaks up some of the challenge where it does avoid some of the kill all these guys, move to the next room, kill all those guys, move to the next room.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I enjoy. And I understand that they're trying to break away from it, but I'm like, it could be something else besides
a puzzle, because you're in Alfheim right now.
Correct.
And so you're getting frustrated with the light puzzles.
I fucking hate them.
The thing that frustrated me, honestly, about the puzzles is that, for the most part, they're pretty simple to me. And you're like, what?
I'm over fucking sweating.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what? I don't. And so for you might enjoy this feature. For me, some of the puzzles that did trip me up were some of the Nornir chests, which are the ones with the runes on it, and you have to break the 3 runes or ring the bells or whatever it is. Have you come across the Nornir chests where you have to light the
Yep, you got to take
fire?
your Blades of Chaos.
Yeah. So later on, and you saw me doing it, so it's not a spoiler for you. Later on, Atreus gets a different type of arrow.
Yeah.
Where you can, like, I can't reach that with my Blades of Chaos, but I can, like, chain it through these runes that he can shoot. Those puzzles do end up frustrating me because there's not like a cut and dry answer. It's like, well, can I reach it from this angle with those runes?
Right.
And daisy chaining them like that? But for me, the thing that actually annoyed me about the puzzles was how quickly sometimes the companions are like giving you hints. Or sometimes I'm like, I didn't need a hint yet. I just needed to think. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so now you've kind of taken the fun of solving a puzzle away from me. And then there's the inverse where with some of the Nornir chests, they just don't give you a hint too much. And so then you're like, I really need a fucking hint here, you know? So I almost think a better way they could have done it would have been like, because I don't think you use the L3 button. Make L3 like a, Atreus, what do you think? You know?
Yeah.
Or, something to that effect, where you then can ask your companion for a hint. and the companion can give you a hint. Because then
That would-
when you're like, I don't fucking
That's actually
know.
really good.
I don't fucking know. You can get a hint. And when I'm like, no, let me think about it. And then I can eventually go, I don't know, and get a hint.
Yeah.
But then the hint is on my terms and not like, well, thanks, I was almost there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's actually not a bad... That's a...
Because there were some times where like, oh, damn, you just need to relax. You know? Atreus, I get it. Fucking chill. He's like,
Fucking know-it-all.
Father, it's up there. And you're like, dude, I was looking at it. I was putting it together. You little, what'd you say, a little know-it-all?
Yeah, you will know-it-all.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Wouldn't you want to know, weather boy?
But yeah, so I did think it was a little uneven in the hint giving. And I, like I said, for you, some of the puzzles might be more tricky than they were for me, which I do think is why that would have been a good solve. Is like, just let me pick when I want a hint. Because you might be going, why haven't they fucking helped me yet?
Right.
And I'm going, God damn, why are they helping me already?
For the most part, any of the runic chests, they have not helped me.
No.
I've only gotten one.
No. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got most of them. By the end, my health bar was
The only one that I actually got
chonky.
was the first one that you do with the Blades of Chaos to light them on fire.
I got you.
It was that first one because the first two are right there, and then the other one was just on the other side. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I was able to, walk over there, and it
You're
was
gonna
just
want
like,
to try and get all the Nornir chests you can because you'll need that health bar, baby. Yeah, you're gonna have to solve some puzzles. It's gonna be like when you were playing the first game, and I had to go, "Why haven't you given yourself any skills yet?" And you're like, "What?" I'm like, "There's a whole fucking skill tree."
dude, I think I'm pretty accomplished by that fact that I made it that
you-
far
yeah,
into the
gave yourself
game
a
with just
handicap.
the basic.
Like in golf, you're just like, except opposite. Instead of like helping yourself, you just held yourself back.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know, man. I didn't know I could do that. I'm like, it literally walks you
And
through
I was
it.
like 75% way
Yeah,
through
you
the
were
game.
way through the game, and you're like struggling. I'm like, why aren't you doing this or that? And you're like, what do you mean? I'm like, press start right now. Let me see this. And you just had it in it.
The basics.
You had like 80,000 XP and no skills unlocked. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
I was like, what?
Well, I don't know, man. I'm like, you just been playing this game as a hack and slash, haven't you? You didn't even look at me like, I
don't sound like that. I don't know what you mean. I don't know. What do you mean?
Story wise, and again, I can't talk too much about story because really you're just getting into the
meat.
Not even. You're getting
Just
into
breaking
like
through the skin.
You're like, oh, so maybe that's what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? That's where you're at. And there's like the main story missions take about 30 hours to complete, if that's all you do. And you've done about 10 hours, so you're maybe a third of the way through, but you've done some side stuff. So main story wise, well, I'll actually pull it up. I had the list of missions up just to give us an idea of how far you are. So you're currently in Alfheim, correct?
Correct.
So you are 4 story missions in to 17 story missions.
I'm how many in? 4?
Yeah. So
Got
you're
away.
roughly 20% of the way through the game. If you only do the story missions, and you need to do more than the story missions, otherwise you're going to be struggling. Because you won't, like, when I finished the game, I had all of the skill trees maxed out. All of my weapons were maxed out.
Mods. Modded too.
Yeah, I had like,
Modified.
skills modified. My suit of armor was all 9. My shield was 9. I was like, dude, I'm ready.
You're aced.
I'm ace. This is it. And then it was still kind of like, oh man, I died a few times in the final moment, boss fights and whatever. I'm like, fuck. So you're in for it, baby. But I do also wonder if the game scales the fights, if that makes sense.
I don't know, man.
Or if it's just like, this boss fight is
Because there's
X
a
difficulty.
there's
If you're
a s-
equipped for it, you're equipped for it. If you're not, you're not.
We'll talk about it because I have my 2 cents on it.
All right. So, while we're talking about story here, as someone who has completed the game, I will just say that I found the story very compelling and satisfying as an ending to what they're calling the Norse saga. They were just doing a 2-game saga for this, not a trilogy like people thought. It has some genuinely surprising like twists or shocking moments that are pulled off well, where you're like, I gotta tell you, I don't know where this is headed now. You know what I mean? This does a better job. This was a kind of I thought about this while I was writing my notes and was like, damn, I think, and I could be too close to it since I'm still kind of enjoying it and playing it. Mm-hmm. I think this does a better job of balancing like the pieces of a game that make it a game with the narrative pieces than something like The Last of Us.
Oh,
because The Last of Us, they're fantastic games, but they're pretty basic as far as gaminess goes.
Yeah.
While relying really heavily on the narrative aspect, whereas this ends up doing both really well, I feel.
And there's like if you are not in mid combat, there is narrative.
Yeah. While you're walking, they're constantly delivering you like information about the characters, their thoughts, their feelings, how they're interacting with each other. You should always be listening because they're giving you something of value. Mm-hmm. Whether it be about each other or just there's little moments, you know. Right. I think about in the first game when you're on the Lake of Nine in the boat and like Kratos is telling stories from his home, but he's telling them poorly, you know, where it's like, you know, the tale of the rabbit and the hare, or the rabbit and the what is it, the tortoise and the hare.
The tortoise and the hare.
But he's just like just chops it down to the very basic where he's like, there was a race between a tortoise and a hare. The tortoise won, you know, and you're like, what?
How?
What? He takes out the lesson from the story and everything, and you're just like, what is he talking about? And there does end up being like, without spoiling anything, Kratos is a bit more human in this one than he was in the first game. Okay. Well, I say the fourth game. Yeah. But where you're like, okay, he has been humanized by accepting himself as a father and a husband and all that, you know, where the whole point of the first game was that of like, I gotta be a better person, you know,
I gotta be a dad.
You know, I mean, the game starts with him telling Atreus, you know, don't be sorry, be better.
Yeah, boy.
But then his lesson is that he needs to be better, right? And that was his whole point. And they do a really good job of taking that idea in this game and then expanding on it of like, again, I'm trying to not spoil things for you, but there's like two themes of the game that kind of run concurrently with each other and then kind of meld together. And the one theme is like, can you really change?
Okay.
There's almost an evolution. Do you remember when he gets the Blades of Chaos?
Yeah.
And he has Athena telling him, you know, you'll always be a monster. And he says, I know. You know, and you're like, oh, that's sad, you know. Well, then there's a continuation of that in this of like, but does he even have to be a monster? You know, where he'd accepted like, yes, I'm a monster, but I'm a monster of my own free will.
Sure.
Right. But now he's kind of questioning like, do I have to be a monster? You know? And that kind of runs concurrently with the question of like, because the teaser at the end of the first game is like, he sees on the wall that the giants have prophesized he will die.
Yeah, he dies.
And so then the concurrent question is like, you know, can I change and are we predestined?
Right.
You know, or can we change fate?
Where I'm at in the game, they keep talking about like, do you believe in prophecies?
Yeah.
And even Mimir's like,
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
sometimes they're eerily accurate, and then sometimes they're
like way off.
What has he just said when I was watching play? You know, prophecies are slippery in nature.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like, yeah, you know, there's something weird about them where they're vague enough that sometimes they're like, damn, they nailed it.
Yeah.
And other times you're like, oh, I see what they meant. You know. And so how much of prophecy is real and how much of it is us? You know, it's like reading your horoscope. You know? Keep it vague enough that I make it true. Right. And then, you know, there's the idea of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like
Odysseus?
Oedipus.
Or Oedipus, excuse me.
You know, where everything he does to avoid killing his father and marrying his mother leads him on a path of killing his father and marrying his mother. You know? And it's like, yeah, it all circles back, right? And so there's those questions of how fate works. So I think, back on my point of like The Last of Us, I don't know if I like this better than The Last of Us or if it's just a bit more accomplished.
Sure.
Narratively, The Last of Us is a great achievement, but it leans more into like the jokes of like Sony's interactive movies.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Whereas this is a really solid balance of like, you've got to be good at the game.
Right.
To get through the story.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to play it on a normal difficulty. I think one of the difficulties is like, just give me story.
I have it as balance.
I think I have it on either give me balance or give me a challenge, but I think I have it on give me balance.
Yeah, I'm rocking on give me balance.
When I finished the game, I wanted more story, not in like I wasn't dissatisfied with the ending, but I compared it to like finishing a really good book or like ending a TV series that you were in love with where you're like, it's bittersweet that it's over because I wanted more, you know? And so, and again, like I can't speak in any specificity. But what do you think of the story so far?
So yeah, basically, if you want, I'll just
So I mean, you don't have to give us frame by frame, but just a rough outline of where you're at, of what's going on.
So right now we picked up Tyr,
the Norse god of war.
Yeah. And he's like a big hippie
He's kind of a
pacifist, and which
in context he's a letdown.
Yeah, which we got to talking about, which is kind of like I was really disappointed, but like not at the game, but like I really felt what Atreus and Kratos were, because they were both kind of like,
yeah, we got to go get this. This god of war is actually real.
Yeah, and when they get to
on our side,
when they get to the boat, and they're like pulling the rope, and Tyr's like
the ferry there in Svartalheim,
and Tyr's like, if you're looking for a god of war,
like I ain't it.
Like if it means like kill me if I'm not, like then just do it.
Yeah.
And both Kratos and Atreus are just kind of looking at him like, fuck. And that scene in particular kills me because Kratos' eyebrows are lifted so high compared to his normal, like his grunt.
Yeah, his frown.
And he's like, just looking at him like, dude,
get your shit together.
Like, what are you doing?
You are a fucking mess right now.
But I feel like he's going to come around.
Yeah.
I feel like something's going to happen.
Maybe.
Because he was real stunned, because later he sees the vision in the doors.
In the
to see about
giant's cabinets or whatever.
That there's a chance of winning Ragnarok.
Yeah. But he's the one leading the army.
Yeah. But
he's like, that can't be.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna come back. Something's gonna happen. I could see Kratos dying. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know if I want him to though.
So that's something that without spoiling it, that's something that the game does very well the whole time. Is either answer feels like a possibility and a reasonable possibility.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, neither premise would have been like oh man, they really had to stretch to keep him alive, or they really had to stretch to kill him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where you're like, I mean, yeah. If he dies here, cool. If he survives, all right, cool.
Yeah. But then, so like the story, everything I've been playing, it does a really nice job connecting everything to the prior game of like all the 9 realms, everything like that. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Seeing where it leads to, because right now we talk to Freya.
Yeah, as
Atreus, and we snuck out, which I fucking loved.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, and like I told you, I didn't put it in my notes, but this game lets you play as Atreus a fair bit, actually.
I'm killing it as Atreus. I'm really good with the bow, and then just the melee combat that he gives. I'm good at doing those combos.
Yeah,
and but you go to Freya.
Have you unlocked the skill that he's got where he sweeps someone?
No.
You said you were already unlocking his skills.
The only skill I unlocked for him was the high ground, where you start a combo and then you do heavy attacks at the end, and like each heavy attack you jump up a little more, and then for the final one you like jump up and spin, and come around and smack him on the back of the head, and just he eats it.
I don't think I ever used that one.
I use that one a lot, but that's just because it's a lot of like L1 R1 just back and forth, and I'm a big button masher, so it fits perfect.
Yeah,
and it deals a good amount of damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, going to Freya, and you wearing the arrow that you killed her son with. Yeah. And he was just like, I better tuck this in right at the end, and then it's the first thing she finds.
Yeah. What plant is it? It is mistletoe.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she basically says like, I'm not gonna help you, but she's very shocked to hear that Tyr's still alive.
Yeah.
So I feel like, well, that's the one thing that was spoiled for me, is I do know that she comes back and helps Kratos. Yeah. It's a case of, your enemy is my enemy.
Yeah, it's like... yeah.
But that is all I know. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to know.
There is some cooperation.
Yeah. So I don't want to... That's all I want to have to... That's all I know.
Yeah.
But then, like, the chemistry between... Or are we jumping to chemistry? That was...
Sure.
Yeah. That's my final thoughts on the story just so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
The only other thing I've got is moments. So, I mean, we can talk about character and chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the relationship between Kratos and Atreus.
I wrote that, except I also included Mimir in there.
Oh yeah, they're like a family.
The three of them.
They're like a family.
I said I literally wrote.
Mimir's like the mom.
I said he's like the uncle. You know.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's literally the setup of like, Kratos is an ill-equipped father. His wife, who did most of the caretaking, is dead, and now he just fucking needs someone who can help him.
And that's Mimir.
Get his shit together, you know, and that's Mimir. And yeah, and I do like the dynamic between the three of them of like, you know, Mimir kind of being a confidant for both of them.
Yeah,
you know,
I like how they just kind of kept him around. Like they could have put him back and just let him have his
head.
Yeah, and
there's
like
so many awkward, like when Kratos first walks into the cabin and he's like reading a book and he's got a spoon in his mouth and flip the pages. You know, it's like poor guy. He's just trying to figure out how to make it work.
But yeah, the relationship between Atreus and Kratos alone, more like of the combat sense of like, you know, the combos that you're able to do, and like something that Atreus does that like comes in clutch. And I'm not sure if there's something specific you gotta hit for it, or if it's just something that he'll do from time to time.
Contextual.
Is like he'll get up and like put his bow on their neck and like hold them back, so you can really just
yeah. Now as you unlock skills, there are times where like you can press like square, I think, to like, you know, basically it's almost like take the shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I know you can shoot him.
Combat, like I think one of the abilities is like if you knock somebody down, you can press a button and Atreus will like finish him basically for you, which is handy.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
You're like, you know, finally knock this guy down. He just takes him down for you. And you're like, thank you, God. You know, boy. Yeah, that's another little subtle thing. He doesn't call him boy.
It's Atreus.
It's Atreus. Yeah, which is good.
But as well as I like. So I'm at the part of the game where Mimir is talking to Kratos when they first get Tyr back to Brock and Sindri's house.
In the realm between realms. How neat is that?
I like that a lot, especially because it's like exclusively hidden. Like not even Odin knows where they are.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, like they can rest easy. But you know, they get Tyr back, and you know, Mimir's like, what do you think?
Yeah, this guy ain't solid.
Or no, Kratos asks Mimir, like, what do you think? Because he's like, I
can't even read on this guy. Yeah.
And he talks about it. He's like, it's not Atreus I'm worried about. It's Tyr.
Yeah.
You know, and then Mimir goes on to say, like, let him make his mistakes, you know, but I think Tyr's a mistake. Like, I think it's good to see him and everything, but, like, this is not
This guy's dead weight right now.
Yeah. And so.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I swear to God, I thought there were footsteps right behind me. It felt like it. No, not you. Because I can tell when it's like the material on the bottom of your shoe.
I'm not wearing shoes.
Yes, you are. You're wearing your slippers.
Yeah, but I just took them off. These are my feet. Do you not fucking believe me? Got my dogs out. That's probably what spooked you, was the change in.
Could be. Anyways. But yeah, no, I just like the chemistry between all of them. You see a lot more interactive and like in-depth lore.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Nice to see.
There we go. Yeah, so as far as moments go, I just said, first of all, the meeting between Thor, Odin, Kratos, and Atreus there at the beginning was tense.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's the shot from the little sneak ending in the first game, where when you go home and go to bed, you dream of, who are you? You see the hammer.
The hammer.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God, that's Thor.
It's fucking
You know,
Thor.
and that's it. You know, and you kind of wake up and you're like, oh, weird fucking dream, you know? And Atreus is like, yeah, me too, you know? And then it wasn't a dream, it was a premonition, right? Well, which apparently is a trait of giants. So, you know, kind of tie it all together. So he actually has visions of the future. That's how they prophesy stuff. But fucking, yeah, Thor rolls up and is just like, could I come in? You know?
Kratos he's is towering over Kratos.
Yeah, he's half giant, and it shows. You know, and Kratos is basically like, you know, I'm not very good company. You know, and Thor says something effective, basically like, you know, you'll come around. And you're like, basically, yeah, I'm coming in. You know, I brought mead. And so he just, you know, Kratos like to Atreus, and Atreus like, Goes
and
inside,
hides Mimir.
And like makes a table up real quick for him. And comes in and just they sit down and to see them like face off again, like kind of basically measuring dicks.
Yeah.
You know, where Thor like sets Mjolnir down on the table and Kratos sets the Leviathan axe down on the table, and they're both real broad stances, you know. And I do like the
real hardcore mansplaining.
Yeah. Man spreading.
Man spreading.
Yeah, they both got their crotches out and they're just looking at each other.
And then Atreus comes in with 2 cups.
2 cups. He's kind of shaking. He's like, "Here you go, guys," you know. And like no words are being traded until Thor goes to offer his drink to Atreus, because I don't know if you got that. He's not drinking.
Who?
Thor. He smells it and is basically like, "Oh fuck," you know. And then he goes to give Atreus the cup, and that's when Kratos grabs his hand. And he goes, "Well, I wish you had told me before I poured 2 cups."
Oh, why isn't he drinking?
I don't know, right? But then Odin
comes in and he just drinks them both.
Takes drinks from both of them and tells Thor, "You're no fun anymore." You know? So, like, Thor's trying to quit drinking.
He's an alcoholic.
Yeah. That's a very human trait to give Thor.
That is.
Is like, I'm trying to better myself. And there's that concept of, like, can I be better? You know? But yeah, he's trying not to drink, and fucking Odin's just like, "Pussy, you used to be fun."
Made you look pussy fart.
Yeah, he's like, you're not as fun anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Thanks, Dad." You know,
Dad of the year.
What a fucking sport. But that line that you and I both like, where Thor asks him, you know, "You seem like a calm and reasonable person."
Oh, yeah.
Are you a calm and reasonable person? And he's like, when the moment calls for calm. And he goes, "Yeah, the moment calls for calm. Yeah." And then Odin fucking, and Odin comes in and is basically like, "Look, you killed his sons. We'll call that self-defense. They were useless anyways." And Thor's just fucking sitting there, you know? And again, it's that thing of,
do you think
Odin's
that's
a prick?
Do you think it's a matter of, like, Thor was a big alcoholic and they got neglected? That's why they're useless and little shits. And maybe that's why he's quitting to drink, is because he's like, I need to be better.
Yeah, I got to be better. Right. And again, yeah, like I said, there's that ongoing theme of, like, trying to be better, you know? And it is interesting to see, like, even Thor is maybe in a spot where he's, "I want to be better," you know? A better father, maybe, you know? And he's got a pretty shitty father. Kratos obviously had a pretty shitty father with Zeus.
Yeah.
And is struggling to be a better father to Atreus, you know? And so, yeah, you know, Odin comes in, and it's like, we'll call that a wash. But, Balder, he was useful. Yeah, that one hurt. So, we're going to have to work some payment out, you know?
Blood payment.
Yeah. And, you know, Kratos is like, "What do you want?" And he tells him, he's like, "Peace. How about peace? You know? You guys leave us alone. Atreus quits looking for Tyr, and we'll call it even. How about that?"
Yeah. And Kratos
kind of thinks on it for a while, and he's like,
"Nah."
"No." And Odin's like, "All right." And that's when as he leaves the house, he just tells Thor, "Don't take too long, or don't take all day."
Yeah.
You know? And Thor's like, "About time." Snaps and calls
just
Mjolnir, just
blows him through the roof.
Throws Mjolnir into his chin, and just Kratos is just on a jet plane, you know?
Yeah, and it looks like he's hitting space.
Yeah, he's going Mach 2 and just and yeah, fucking Thor whoops your ass
hard.
Literally kills you. The
then
game gives you the "you died" screen.
Yeah.
And then he goes, you know, we're done when I say I'm done.
Yeah, and then you
shocks you to life.
Defibrillates.
Yeah,
defibrillates you. Yeah.
With Mjolnir, and you're like, what the
Jesus
fuck?
Christ. Like,
yeah. And the whole point of the fight was him trying to get Kratos mad. Because he finally, like, gets Kratos in a chokehold, basically, and is like, you know, Odin's alone with your son, you know? He's got plans for your boy. And fucking Kratos headbutts him, socks him one, and is just starts screaming mad. And literally knocks out a tooth. You know, Thor's like, there he is. Pulls out a tooth and throws it. He's like, there's the god of war. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah. That's such a hot scene.
Yeah. But
I like the voice of Thor.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't...
So I didn't watch it, but apparently he is Opie from Sons of Anarchy, for people that know that show.
I don't.
Atreus can just shapeshift into animals, or at least a bear.
Yeah, but not intentionally.
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's an ability he has.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's maybe an ability that he can hone, right? Where, like...
That'd be cool.
When he gets mad, he just turns into a fucking bear and kills another bear.
Like...
And then almost, like, gets into a hard fight with Kratos. Kratos almost kills him. And was like, Jesus, that's Atreus. And...
he gutted that bear, though.
Yeah. And that was kind of fucked up, wasn't it, when you're on your way back?
He's like, what is this? What happened?
And there's just a dead bear with her cubs.
Oh, yeah.
And Atreus is like, what can we do? And Kratos is like, nothing. Like,
Nothing.
What do you want us to fucking do? They're bears. Nature will take its course. And he's like, oh.
Yeah, and like Atreus tries to go comfort the bears, and they're growling.
Afraid of them, because it's they're animals, and it's like consequences of your actions. He's like,
that
hard.
was sad.
That was fucked up. His fucking Fenrir dying.
Oh my! I was tearing up. I was getting choked up.
Yeah, when he holds his dog and basically tells him it's okay, you can go now. I was like, I literally held my first dog while he was put down, and I was like, I'm not ready for this.
I was playing it, and my dog, he wasn't hanging out with me, but the way that the dog acts is somewhat similar to like when my dog, when he's being like cuddly and stuff.
Yeah, wants to lay on you.
And I was just like,
that's how my dog is.
That's my homie.
I would miss my dog. Faye coming to Kratos in his dreams.
Yeah, we get to see Faye, and she's like,
and it's Deborah Ann Wolf from Daredevil.
Karen Page.
Yeah. Who
she
apparently
fits.
just hasn't been getting work since Daredevil for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. So I was really excited to see her.
Good, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I haven't seen her in anything else, so.
But it is interesting to see, like, how, like, soft and caring and sweet she is. And it's like, what about Kratos did she see? You know what I mean? That, like, that made them a pair.
Apparently she's a better fisher than Kratos.
Right, yeah.
I know we found, again, that thing that, Atreus and Kratos were talking about was like, I take, what, you always fishing?
Yeah.
No. Your mother was a far better fisher than me.
Yeah. And there's just a lot more, like, fatherly moments.
Yeah.
And it's good to see. And I do like him basically confiding in Mimir, where he's like, Mimir says something to the effect where he's like, I know you're trying, brother. And he's like, but, he's basically like, but Jesus, dude, you gotta lighten up. I can see you're trying, but good golly. Kind of wrapping up here because we have been going for a bit.
Sure.
This isn't a spoiler because it's in like the pre-release press and stuff, but you do travel to all 9 of the realms in the game, which is not a spoiler, but, all of the realms that you go to, I think, do a good job of being distinct. Where, like, Svartalheim is obviously a big contrast to Midgard, because Midgard is in Fimbulwinter and it's just a cold, desolate landscape. And then, Svartalheim is, like, humid, Yeah,
it's got the gaseous.
Kind of green and muggy, and
it makes me think
almost
very
swampy.
When I first... Because that's the second place you go to, right?
Yeah, it's the Dwarven homeworld.
I thought it was almost tropical because when you get in there, you see the birds flying past.
Yeah, it is a little tropical.
And
so that's kind of nice. It almost reminds me of like a pirate cove.
Yeah.
I can't think of the one in the Bahamas or in the Caribbean. I don't know. I'll think of it when we stop recording. But
Coastal Highway?
No. And then, so like you're in Alfheim. You're not to the open world section of Alfheim yet.
Don't like Alfheim.
You don't like fighting the Dark Elves because they require some ability.
Shut up.
Other than button mashing.
Shut up.
And the puzzles have stumped you so far.
Shut up.
It takes thought and strategy, not slamming a button down. And you're like, I don't like it. We might just need to put you over onto the Give Me Story mode so that you can just play it and be like, I like a game.
I will finish this game in balance.
I like good game.
Balanced, as all things should be.
But no, there are other realms that you go to that are like, you go to all the realms, but some of them are like the main realms that you travel in.
Right.
And they have big open world sections in them. And they all do a good job of like, I rarely found myself being like, I just want to get on with the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where I was like, I really had to tell myself to keep playing the story. Where I was like, I'm enjoying all the side stuff here, and like I'm a completionist, and there is enough narrative, like we talked about, through just traveling as you're talking and things like that, that I was like, I'm cool with all this.
Yeah.
The game ends up, with the two major themes like I talked about. I think I've talked on all my notes that I can.
Yeah.
Thoughts so far on the game? Just in general.
As far as like combat, I'm really big on some of the new combos that they added. Just like you were saying, great gameplay. Nothing was wrong with the prior game.
Yeah.
So like keep that going. It was really good. I do want to see, because we hit a point where Sindri was talking to Atreus about Brock, which we were just talking about earlier, about how he went to the land of the souls.
Yeah, apparently Brock died. Something happened. Brock died.
And Sindri went back
went to Alfheim to go to the Lake of Souls.
And gets 3/4 of.
Yeah, apparently your soul's split into 4 parts.
Yeah,
but I don't remember what they all mean.
But he couldn't get all 4, and like that doesn't sound like Sindri at all. Yeah, because he's kind of a coward.
Yeah,
he's very cowardly. So like that's like a.
Yeah, he went through all that to
get his brother back, and I kind of want to see that. So I'm hoping that there's a flashback, maybe, or we go back and get the last piece. Don't tell me nothing. But other than that, no, like I really like it. I'm excited. When we get off, I'm probably gonna play it for maybe an hour. I don't know. It's getting kind of late, but I do want to play Pokemon as well because Pokemon Violet is pretty good so far.
No. So I talked about it with you. If we have a slow week in the next couple weeks, and you've finished the game, I do want to maybe do a mini-sode.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing the mini. I could see a mini-sode happening.
I want to talk about everything because there's so much more to talk about.
That's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, because we got to get you in there.
Yeah.
So I think that's everything about God of War. Chris, you got a cryptid there for me?
Welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, Chris. Settle down, please. Please, that's enough. That's enough. Enough. This week, we're going to be talking about the Bermuda Blob.
The Bermuda Blob. That was my nickname on vacation.
So, straighten the fuck up. The Bermuda Blob was, exactly how it sounds. It's just a blob that washed up on Bermuda twice on 2 separate occasions. The first one was in 1988, and then the second one was in 1997.
Okay.
So fairly, frequent. The description of the blobs, quoted by a gentleman named Teddy Tucker, who was the one who discovered it in 1988. What are you laughing about, Tucker? I barely know her.
I did. You said Tucker, and I was like, barely know her. I was like, I can't.
But Tucker described the blob as to be like 2.5 to 3 feet thick, and it looked like a disformed star, like a disfigured sea star, in quotations, as he called it. But when says they found him, it says that it looked like they never did do like a scientific study on it, but this is just all
they
like
just went, weird, and threw it back.
Yeah, but they wrote a journal about it. But they said they didn't. Their assumption of whatever that was dead, but it just looked like tissue, except it moved. It kept
it was still.
And so, legend has it that one of the biggest reasons of why things go missing in like the Bermuda Triangle area is because it has to do with one of these, as well as like an amountless amount of creatures.
Yeah.
That are just going and taking ships, taking planes, anything that's flying over. But so, I don't know. It's pretty vague, but I thought of a pretty. Jesus Christ, dude, are you fucking serious? The goddamn Reese's Pieces.
Nondescript peanut butter candy.
Nondescript. But I think it'd be pretty interesting to think of like the blobs forming together, right? And then like slowly taking over the ship, right?
Yeah,
and like
pulling it in.
They wrap it from both sides and like slowly just like tackle onto each other, connect, and then sink the ship down communism. With it. Bingo. But no, I thought that was really interesting. It was just just something they found, man, and I just put a little spin on it.
A little fun spin.
Put a little boogie in the tissue, make it dance.
Yeah, how do you make a tissue dance?
You put a little boogie in it. But no, it's something small, but I thought it was something cool, and it got me inspired to know more about Bermuda. So maybe I'll do next week.
Just the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, I might start talking about that because I think it'd be interesting to learn more about like creatures that are in the Bermuda.
Yeah.
That could be causing ships to sink, paranormal activity, anything like that, haunted shipwrecks.
Those movies were just okay.
Huh?
Those movies were just okay.
What?
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
First one was kind of spooky a little bit.
I liked the first one, but anything after that.
It got pretty out of hand pretty quick.
Also, I didn't like the Blair Witch Project.
You had to be there.
Hmm?
You had to be there.
Like I was there though.
No, you weren't.
For the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
When did it come out?
Like 98.
I might be thinking of the remake then.
Maybe. Yeah.
And so when the remake came out, that's the only one I've seen.
Oh, like you were like, I was there.
Yeah, I was.
I know your fucking birthday, dude. No, you weren't. You weren't even in your daddy's sack yet.
No, not even. But no, I don't know. Blair Witch Project's pretty mid. The remake at least, but maybe I should watch the first one. But
found footage horror is because of the original.
I got your original right here.
Original chicken sandwich. Oh, the long one from Burger King. It's all right.
It's okay.
But the fuck, like, no, not a sponsor. That spicy royal chicken has a grasp on me.
Oh, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I'm a different man because of it. Like every
got me in a chokehold.
every Saturday, Morgan and I are like, "What are we doing for lunch today?"
Spicy chicken sandwich.
A spicy chicken sandwich from Burger King. I'm like, I could probably fuck on one of those, yeah. And then we go through and we're sitting in line. Like, we're damn near to a point where we can just go, you know why we're here. You know what I mean? Run the reg, And they're like, add pickle? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already know.
But what you been thinking about?
Well, no. I've been thinking about Rhett and Link a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we've been on, like, a Rhett and Link renaissance. Mm-hmm. Not that they ever went away, but they went away for me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
But, like, I've been watching... Like, when Morgan and I are, like, especially when we've been playing God of War, when it's, like, God of War, now it's time for a meal break. We gotta eat lunch, gotta eat dinner, whatever it is. Put on Rhett and Link, watch Rhett and Link. Might have it down to science of, like, I can eat this in a video, Video's over, and it's like, back at it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to tell that. So last Saturday, when I first was playing God of War, I took Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and just played. Still didn't beat it. I beat it this weekend. But last Saturday, Morgan and I fell asleep on the couches down here. And, like, literally, I played it, at some point paused it, and I don't know if, like, I was getting beaten by a boss repeatedly, and I was like, I gotta...
Take a break.
I gotta pause it and like scroll on my phone or something. But I ended up falling asleep on the other couch. Wake up at like 8:30 in the morning. So I fell asleep somewhere in like the 2 to 3 o'clock hour. Woke up at 8:30ish and look at Morgan and I'm like, oh, and she's waking up too. She's like, oh, we slept down here all night. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna look over at the coffee table and the PS5 controller sitting there, and I went. Well, reached out and pushed the PlayStation button and just beep and powers up and she goes, back at it. And I literally just went back to playing God of War and we could not stop giggling about playing God of War into the wee hours of the morning and just fall asleep, waking up and be like, well, more God of War to play. And just going, it was literally like a job, just, well,
back at it.
Back at it. But no, Good Mythical Morning. Yeah, we've been watching a lot of that, like their gut checks and all that. Not sponsored by Rhett and Link. No. They're just, they've been doing it for going on 20 years now.
Yeah.
Their first video was 2006.
Jesus.
Yeah, they've been doing this shit 16 years. Can you believe that? But also, I want to plug another pod of theirs, Ear Biscuits.
Oh, yeah.
I've been listening to it a lot. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they've been doing a lot more like, they almost feel a little bit more sincere or real because like they'll swear,
right?
You know, and they're just talking about like their life outside of like whatever their production is.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Your laptop die on you?
No, just the light went off.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you are. Now I can see you. There's a beautiful face, a mustache,
Beautiful bushy
those beautiful bushy brows.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I get complimented on my mustache all the time.
Yeah, you
I
should.
get told by everybody that I should keep it, and I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna
Finally
keep
come
this.
around to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I wanted to recommend out of like the Rhett and Linkaverse is James and the Shame, which is Rhett's stage name as a musician.
Oh yeah.
I finally sat like listened to that album, and under the context of knowing that that album's pretty much about his him coming to terms with, because they were both like devoutly religious young men. They were like missionaries and like hardcore. I'm gonna come convert you, and they've both since basically lost that religion. I don't want to say lost that religion, but come to terms that they don't believe that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And his whole album, Human Overboard, is about that. And so, like, I know that Believe Me was kind of popular on TikTok for a little bit, at least for me. And that was, like, his first single off of it. But they're all really good songs. And this morning I actually listened to an episode of Ear Biscuits that was literally, like, their listening party for him, where they played a little bit of each song, and then he kind of got to talk about, like, what it was about.
Sure.
And, there's some really good stuff in there. And, like, if that's something, you know, that somebody's interested in hearing about, as far as like hearing somebody sing about losing religion, you know, or converting out of Christianity, that's a good album. It's a very personal. Sure. Like he even kind of talked about the idea of like, I'm singing this because it's some stuff that I can't say.
Sure.
You know, it's hard for me to say it, so I'll sing it.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, that's kind of it's actually a really, really good album. But what about you? What have you been thinking about?
I kind of had a roller coaster the past few days.
Yeah.
I fucking went to Best Buy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
to open up just a credit card because you know I'm a young guy. I'm still kind of working on
credit,
right.
Yeah.
And so I just went over to Best Buy, opened up a credit card, and I ended up buying I have a Switch Lite, but I pre-ordered the new Pokemon because I was getting kind of excited for it.
Yeah.
But then I went ahead, picked up the pre-order, and just bought a Switch, and I was like, great, you know, I'll make payments on it. It's fine. And so I left with the Switch, and then on Friday I went to go pick it up. As I was waiting in line, the lady, you know, she was like, all right, let me go grab. And she went back to grab, and a guy came out and set down like 3 boxes. And, you know, it was just digital copy, PS5. And I was like, what the fuck?
But it's, you know, you got the disc edition, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but the thing is they only set out like 3 or 4. They didn't set out too many.
Yeah.
But they were all digital copies, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want a digital copy. I wanted a disc copy. But then they sent out one more.
And it was disc.
And it was a disc. And I asked her, I said, excuse me, like how much is that PS5?
Because it also had the God of War in it.
Because it was the God of War exclusive. And she
Yeah.
goes, well, you know, it's God of War exclusive. It's going to be a little more expensive. I said, how much is
the
it?
game as well, yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, it's about like $550. And I was like, that's a stupid deal.
You literally called me at my big boy job.
Yeah, I called you because I was like,
And I answered, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
It rang like, what, 3 times? And I was like, I had to step away from like people, but I'm like, if Chris is calling me, he needs me.
Yeah.
You know?
I was like, dude, I'm
You're
not.
like, dead ass?
Because I was like, I just opened up this credit card, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I should, like, you know,
Yeah.
is that a stupid move? And you were like, no, buy it.
You got the 12 months 0% APR.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, pay it off in 12 months, pay no interest, close the card, you know, or don't close it, but just run a no balance on it.
And so, like, I've been just hopping back and forth on playing Switch. I've been really rocking on Animal Crossing on my TV as like a cool down game because it's just so relaxing.
Yeah.
And then I've been kind of playing on Pokemon, but I've been mainly focusing on God of War.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to be pretty busy for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
You know, my cool down game was sleeping.
Nah.
Back at it.
Back at it. But no, so
I gotta unwind with Animal Crossing.
no, I just like playing it. It's a fun little
I'm
game.
just fucking with you. Did you them toes click?
Yeah, I did. Your toes were clicking, but Yeah, I got some ground to work on.
Yeah.
For the next while until February, essentially, when Sons of the Forest come out.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to burn that until maybe halfway through March or maybe the beginning of March, and then I'm gonna play the day before, and that's just gonna consume me.
Hopefully.
Stop. They've been kind of quiet. I keep checking on updates, and they've been kind of quiet. So that means either they're really full steam in it, and they're like, you know what, we're just gonna push it, and right now it's crunch time.
Yeah.
Or
I bet it's flop.
Stop.
I saw videos come up on YouTube as recommendations, and one was like, "Why not to trust the day before?" And I was like, "Boo."
I'm gonna get it regardless.
Yeah, I know you are. I'll let you get it and then tell me.
Yeah. But that's really about all I've been thinking about.
Yeah,
it's been very overwhelming with everything going on because setting both of those things up took forever.
Yeah, I had to help you with the PlayStation.
I know I did think it was broken, but
yeah, and it was literally like you had to unplug, you had to reset your TV real quick, unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah, but I thought I did that, but I guess I just didn't do it because I didn't unplug it from the outlet. I plugged it from the PlayStation itself.
So you didn't power off
Huh?
So you didn't unplug the TV. You unplugged the HDMI cord.
Correct, and I unplugged the PlayStation, but I never unplugged the TV.
Right.
That was my problem.
Yeah, and it was funny because it was like, you come down, and I mean, you were ready. You were like, I'm going to have to fucking take it back. Imagine how fucking embarrassing that would be.
Yeah, I bought the warranty for it, so if I just said, hey, like, it's not working, like, I want to swap it out, they probably wouldn't have said nothing.
And they go, we don't have another one. Do you want a refund? And you go,
no. I'd say no. I'll probably get it fixed. I'll take it somewhere.
Yeah, you just send it into Sony, and then you send it to Sony, and they go, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It powered right up." And you're like, "What?
All this time wasted."
I was like, "What's it giving you?" And I like looked up the problem and everything. The guy gave us a lot of solutions. I'm like, I guess we can try all these. And then the fucking first comment was, "Anytime this happens, it's my TV, and I just unplug it and replug it, and it works fine." And you described the problem as there's just a solid white light on the front. And I looked at my PlayStation. And sure as shit, when it's just running, it's just a solid white light. And I went, does it look like that? And you went, yeah. And I went, your fucking PlayStation's fine. It's your TV. And you go, do I gotta get a new TV? And I go, no, follow me.
I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, just follow me. And I go, unplug the TV. Yeah. And I go, unplug the PlayStation just for,
shits
safeties.
and gigs.
Yeah, shits and gigs, safeties, kicks and, whatever. And you're like, okay. You do, and you plug it back in. And like you push, you turn on the TV and it's like PlayStation 5 and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. I thought the PlayStation was an HDMI 1. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So now he's been putting it on the wrong HDMI and it wasn't even, oh, fuck.
Hey,
Lord
listen,
help me.
a lot happened that day, right?
I wasn't in a solid
space. Yeah.
Say you fucking.
I was overwhelmed.
I started right up.
Yeah. I had to buy the PlayStation 5 and I had to go to work that day. Like I almost called off.
I straight up told you, I was like, all right, you got to lay the groundwork now. Go and work coughing.
The second I stepped outside of Best Buy.
Just all of a sudden I'm coming down with something. I got a fever.
But I wasn't going to leave that PlayStation 5 in my car, so I'm waddling into work with this thing in my hand. And I was like, can I put this in your office? She's like, why not put it in the break room? I was like, I will not be taking my eye off this. Yep. Like, I will be doing rounds for the rest of the day, making sure that that is still there.
Yep.
She's like, yeah, sure, thankfully, but... I post on my Snap story, and she's on. My boss follows me, so I called off. What is it? The scene from Rick and Morty? Barack Obama's like, you lying ass! I got your ass on satellite.
But all of that to say that it powered right on and came up in a foreign language as the default, and it was like some Slavic language.
Yeah,
and we're like, what the fuck? Wait, I don't know. But yeah.
But so needless to say,
I just got a giggle out of, and Morgan was just kind of like, "Go help him, go help him." And I was like, "Oh, I got it."
But we got it all working. That's all that matters.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
So again, we want to thank you guys so much for your attention and support. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a great review. Tell your friends about us. Share us on social media. We actually got a really nice mention on Facebook. Let me pull that up here. We send too much in the group chat. So yeah, somebody on Facebook says, at work, I have the freedom of listening to music, books, and catching up on my favorite podcasts. And I have to make a shout out to the Simply Whelm podcast for making 5 hours of warehouse work a lot more enjoyable with their show. If you love pop culture like I do, Their take on the latest news, shows, movies, comics, and more is a breath of fresh air, and the host and co-host have wonderful chemistry.
right.
I literally
That's
laughed
fucking right,
out
we do.
loud quite a few times, probably looking like the Joker in the picking tower, abruptly passing someone and letting out a series of cackles. But oh well. So if you have some time to check them out, I would. They're conveniently on Spotify where I listen to podcasts, but they're on other platforms as well. You'd think we paid that person, but we didn't.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, actually.
Yeah. And yeah, so just something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be that sweet, but it can.
You know what really gets my dick hard? That right there.
Oh, should I read that mean email to me?
Yes, I think you should.
Right.
We got our first hate mail.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been asking for it. Somebody was a little too passionate for my taste. I was like, all right, this is coming off as like...
Neckbeardy.
Yeah, this is coming off as... Do I need to be looking over my shoulder? Like, is somebody trying to find my IP, you know? So, Chris Collins, which I'm thinking is a fake name,
Yeah.
says, the subject line is all caps, Colin, you fucker. I was like, oh, I gotta see what this is. You know what I mean? I was like, I get the like Gmail notifications on my watch, you know, and I just look down and it just says Colin, you fucker, and I'm like, what the?
I better check this
I don't
out.
remember signing up for anything like this. What is this? You know, I open it up and it just says, so you're gonna sit there and tell me Avatar wasn't impactful? A James Cameron film wasn't impactful? You're fucking high. The technology that James Cameron developed will revolutionize underwater filmmaking. The amount of money and time dumped into this franchise is ludicrous for it to not be successful or impactful. I understand your sentiment, but I very much disagree. Since they did the re-release with updated visuals, it will be something huge in a few years' time. I mean, even Disney has built dedicated places in their theme parks for it. If you keep up this blasphemy, I shall have to challenge you to a duel of fisticuffs. I'll make ye sleep with the fishes, you rat bastard. Needless to say, I am excited and I'm glad others are too. Shame on you, Colin, for shame. I'm just going to throw some at you here. Money does not mean success, even in Disneyland, all right, baby?
I don't know.
John Carter of Mars is one of the largest flops of all time. $200 million budget, right?
This ain't
Fucking...
John Carter.
No,
man.
it ain't.
It's Avatar.
Yeah,
exactly.
It is. It's Avatar.
Exactly.
Like, Avatar has not had impact.
On you.
Hold on. I saved an article. I literally was scrolling on the Hollywood Reporter, and it was like, the article was how Avatar has had no impact on culture. And I was like, have they been fucking listening to me? But yeah, so I'll have to send that to you so you can fucking educate yourself. Avatar, the most successful film with zero cultural impact. So, yeah.
What's going on here?
But no, so yeah, you can send us some shit like that, I guess, if you want. At least it's entertaining.
Not to me. I will cry.
Yeah, Chris doesn't have the fortitude for it.
I am very sensitive.
He
I will
didn't
cry.
have the confidence.
I am baby.
So yeah, Facebook, all that good stuff. What's our tags? And all
Yeah,
that?
you can always reach out to us or take a look at us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at Simply Whelmed Podcast. You can always take a look at our Twitter handle, which is whelmed_simply, and of course you can take send us hate mail, good mail. Follow our the Good Church of the Word.
Yeah.
What was the name for it we came up with?
It was, I don't remember, but we didn't call it a cult because as I said, cults are illegal.
Right.
Churches don't pay taxes.
Churches spread the truth.
Yeah. Educate you.
Yeah, but the good word of the simply the whelmed, the gospel.
Whelmed, yeah.
You can always let us know at simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, I don't appreciate it, but putting profane language in all caps in the subject line did grab my attention.
It got you.
I had to read it at work. I was like, what the hell? They're calling you fucker. I was like, well, I better check this out. See who I made mad. And then when it was about Avatar, I was like, oh, I know who this guy was, or at least the type of person, you know what I mean? Let's just say.
Sounds like a genius to me.
Let's just say I could picture the person, you know what I'm saying?
Sounds like a genius to me. He makes, or she makes complete and utter sense.
Next week, I'm excited. We get to talk about Glass Onion.
Yeah.
That comes out Wednesday.
Wednesday? Are we going to go see it Wednesday?
So I don't know if we'll get to catch it in theaters or not, but it's on Netflix.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So, because it is playing in theaters, but I think only select theaters like Netflix typically does, so they can qualify for Oscars and shit. Word. But yeah, definitely going to watch that on Netflix. Yeah. And then talk about that next week. So.
For sure.
For sure. That's the end of the episode, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.